Right, 9 September 2024. And today I would like to give you my update on this Monday. What an amazing day. I like Mondays. Those are my best days, and I feel the strongest on a Monday. Today I want to take you through an interesting discovery from Zimbabwe. And I've been talking a lot about health this week. So a group of scientists from Zimbabwe have announced the discovery of a miracle cancer drug or a miracle cancer cure, which cures all sorts of cancers. And it is likely to cure more cancers. They've said skin cancer and Alzheimer's disease, so the cancer of the brain. But I want to say I'm not very convinced, and I believe that my brothers are using Mve here. Remember Mve that I talked about last week? That's what I think they're doing. I don't think they're using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and mathematical modeling. So that's what they say. They're saying they're using artificial intelligence, but I actually think these guys are using Mve and some other drugs from Zimbabwe. So I've been trying to find out exactly what are they talking about. That is Professor Mukwembi and his other professors. I don't even know their full names. I've been trying to look at the reports from last week, and it's not clear to me who are these guys and what is their track record in research. But I know Professor Mukwembi has done a lot of work in mathematical modeling. However, I don't believe that these guys have discovered a cancer cure. And I want to describe to you what they've said. They've said that their system called Rutava is a modeling AI system that goes and picks existing compounds which are already approved. And then it takes these and they create new compounds for treating cancer. And they've already used it effectively. It doesn't attack the human cells, it only attacks cancer cells. And I think most people don't know cancer, how dangerous it is. Cancer is very dangerous, and you need to get it early because once cancer starts spreading, it doesn't stop. It keeps going. And when you attack it, you have to be very aggressive. And normally the treatment of cancer is more dangerous than the cancer itself. So what normally happens is, in past research, anyone who takes cancer drugs, and I'm saying this with sensitivity, right? Anyone who takes cancer drugs, the impact of that cancer drug is more than the cancer. So within 5 years, the number of people that have taken a cancer drug that are still alive is less than 15%. So that is the research that is out there. If you take a cancer drug and you say, I'm healed, after 5 years, we'll come back and you say, all the people that were treated with the cancer drug, how many are still alive? It's a 15% of the people will still be alive after 5 years. That is because the drugs are so dangerous and so powerful. So our brothers here are saying they've discovered a cancer drug that does not cause any side effects. It only attacks the cancer cells. And they've been questioned very widely. I think everyone who's looked at their video, he said, this can't be possible. So I think this is one of the reasons why we're talking about it. It's very strange what they're saying, and they need to go back to the drawing board. They need to recommunicate what they've said here. I want to just play for you a clip from what you were saying.
But the good thing about some of the drugs that I think you mentioned repurposing. When we are saying repurposing, we are saying both the Rutava is very good. It can tell you that this drug that you are using for disease X can also work for disease D. That's what we call repurposing. It's a drug already in the market, but no one already knows that it does work for this other thing.
Right. So this is where I've got a problem with my brothers. They are saying in the whole world, there are drugs that are already there, which no one knows are used for something else. I don't think that's possible. Medical research is big. Like a lot of people spend all their time correlating drugs. Companies have been formed just to do that, to find which drugs can do this and also can do that. So I don't think it's a drug. Here, that's why I'm saying they're talking about Mumbai here. Local stuff that is not known. Internationally, yes, but not a drug that is manufactured overseas and it goes into testing for years and years. And they're saying that their drug will be out, they'll be able to produce a drug within a year and it will be on the market. So what I think is these guys, what they've done, they've probably gone into the raw areas and taken Mumbai and taken whatever drugs being used there in Zimbabwe, mixed them around and played around with the compounds. And then they've taken this for testing at Wits and the University of Johannesburg. That is what I think they've done. I don't think they've gone and taken a drug compound from the United States and from all these other countries and done that. So very interesting, but a lot of questions have arisen about this drug that is being talked about by our brothers here from Zimbabwe. And let's see what happens. I think there's been a lot of questions about their approach and also where they've published these papers. There's no paper. I've not seen the paper. So they must bring it out. Let's see the actual documentation, the actual testing, how many people have been treated, how many people were healed. Because if it's a cancer drug, we should be able to say we treated 100 people and all 100 are healed. This is where the problem is. Where exactly have these guys tested their medicine? So let's see what happens with this cancer drug, very prominently published all over the place. But I see that there's a lack of the documentation. There's no backing documentation. But I think it's clear. If you get cancer, if you get a cancer diagnosis, you've got a big decision to make. And one of the decisions is, do you go on the drugs that are being offered for a cure, or do you go for palliative care where you just sit there and treat the symptoms? And I think what these guys are offering in a Zimbabwean context, it needs to be explored because anyway, Zimbabwe accepts this kind of medicines, alternative medicines. So I take this as alternative medicine. So they mustn't be trying to push it internationally. There's already a lot of cancer in Zimbabwe. They must be pushing it in Zimbabwe, put it as an alternative treatment and get it out on the market to the people in Zimbabwe already, not going for international testing. That is my view on this whole thing. Now, let's go quickly into another development at the University of Zimbabwe. And I want to show you the drama at the University of Zimbabwe. So the University of Zimbabwe got a machine from Mnangagwa in 2022. And this machine has been sitting idly because they didn't get any approvals to produce number plates. So now they've announced, because of the shortage of Forex, that they're going to be producing number plates from the University of Zimbabwe. I think this is a disaster. They mustn't be producing number plates in the University of Zimbabwe. If you go to South Africa, number plates are made all over the place. The actual number plate itself is produced somewhere, but the actual fitting, and in the past, you could actually punch the numbers on the street. They've improved that system. But what I've seen at the University of Zimbabwe is they are now manufacturing the number plate on site. And I hope I can find a little video here of the whole process. The reason why they're doing this is the country's run out of Forex. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is in trouble as we speak right now. There is a shortage of cash. People are refusing to accept the ZIG, and it's a mess. So let me just show you quickly how this machine is being used and how it's producing number plates. It's a very nice machine, actually. But let me show you so that I don't talk about something that you can't see. I like to show you these things because it's a Chinese machine. In China, they make everything. So let's quickly show you how this thing works. It's very easy to see.
Work with our hours And that means we can satisfy our local market well beyond our.
So you see how it works. This is the professor talking about it. It's a simple machine where you put paper
to the region if that need
Yeah.
arises.
You see, it's almost like you're making bread.
So I think that's the motivation.
So this is the machine that they're using. They use it. It's one machine producing 14,000 number plates a day. And I think this mustn't be done at the university. The reason why they're doing it at the university is because Mnangagwa bought this machine or got it as part of a donation or something. He says 1 million. But we have a serious problem with number plates. Imagine how much forgery is going to take place, because a number plate is a security thing. I just don't know what is going to happen. It's funny to me because our country, we are making stupid things look big, like a number plate. A number plate is nothing, man. Like, we shouldn't even be talking nationally about a number plate. I'd rather talk about the things that we've been talking about here. High-speed rail, planned cities. That's where we need to be going. At the moment, the government of Mnangagwa spends a lot of time on kindergarten stuff, which makes no sense. And then I want to go to my last Zimbabwe story before I go to South African stories. And this is a very sad story. So on your screen is a family that was buried this weekend. And this is very sad. You can go and see this story in the Chronicle newspaper. And this family all passed away in an accident that took place about a week ago or so ago. That is the father, Lorenzo Palu, 36, his wife Forgive, 31, and a 3-year-old son, Luandile. They had gone to Zimbabwe to celebrate their 5-year anniversary, wedding anniversary. And Lorenzo was an IT specialist in South Africa. They died in the Mzansi bus crash in Mankado. And it's very sad. This situation, 10 people died here in this bus crash by Mzansi, where the bus just crashed and everyone died. And the police in South Africa are saying this is due to fatigue. The drivers are spending a lot of time at the border, and by the time they start driving, they are so tired. And this causes a lot of accidents. A lot of people are dying on the roads. And as we move towards Christmas, it's getting worse. The estimation is that every day, 5 people die in Zimbabwe in an accident. And that makes it about, the estimation is that 2,000 Zimbabweans die on the road every year, just through these accidents that are happening right now. Then I want to go to South Africa. And in South Africa, the trending story is actress Gcina Mkhize. She is trending because she has gone destitute. She came out appealing for help. She's a former isibaya actress, and she says she's no longer getting any gigs and she's being thrown out of her house. So yesterday she was trending because she's blaming the guy who was renting her house, and she's also blaming police for not helping and security companies. And what I can say is that in South Africa, the economy is made in such a way that eventually you get into financial trouble. There is no one in South Africa who doesn't get into financial trouble. The economy is such that you can never be financially free. The salary is never high enough. The bills are always high. And once you get into debt, the banks will crash you until you are destroyed. So the only way is to get out of the system or to beat the system. And the way you beat the system is to become an entrepreneur. If you become an entrepreneur in South Africa, you do very, very well. There are lots of opportunities. And also, you need to understand that debt, especially car debt, many people buy a lot of nice cars. That's not, it doesn't make sense. Don't do that. Don't come to South Africa and buy a nice 1 million rand car. When you start buying your car, your first car, buy a nice big car, like a Toyota Fortuner or whatever, those big cars. When you're young, buy that car. Keep that car for the rest of your life. That is for the next 10 years or 15 years. Drive that car. And then Don't keep changing, because most people are destroyed by cars, loans, and shops, buying credit, things on credit. That is what will destroy you in South Africa. So most people don't get it. South Africa is a trap. Most people will never be financially free because of that reason. And most people own nothing in this country because of the system. The way the system is made, it benefits from giving debt out to people who don't afford it, and then making sure that they suffer and they continue working for the rest of their lives. And most people, when they go on a pension, they have nothing. It's not like Zimbabwe, where a person has got their own house in the village. Here, there's nothing of that sort. Well, there are some people with houses in the village, but imagine spending all your life staying in the city, and then you go and stay in the village because of nothing. You must be having a choice. In fact, to say now I'm going to the village. But so many stories like this. Young actresses, they do very well, they're popular, and then suddenly you see them appealing for help. One day I was at a shop here in Johannesburg, and I met one of the most popular actresses. She was in front of me paying for her groceries. And then after she finished paying, she swiped her card. Nothing happens. She pushes and stands on the side. She starts calling different people to say, I want to buy groceries. Please help me to pay. And it was a sad thing to watch. And this happens on a daily basis here in South Africa. And what they've done this month is they've introduced what is called a two-pot system. A two-pot system is where every year a person can withdraw money from their pension, because people are so destitute that they were quitting their jobs to access their pension. That's how bad this thing it became. So you see someone quitting a job this month, and the next month they go and get another one. They work for 2 years. After that, they quit, just trying to make a living, because it's unbearable living in this country. The debt levels, very, very high. Income levels, very low. And most people are living from hand to mouth. I think the estimation is that 90% of the people, if they were to lose their job today, they don't have enough money to cover the bills for next month. That's how bad the situation is. Then let's look at the PSL. Here, the PSL Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe doing very, very well. 50 points from 25 matches. So that's an average of 2 goals per match. Similar to FC Platinum, Ngezi Platinum, Manica Diamonds. So you can see the well-funded teams are doing very well at the top there. Then you have the middle-tier teams, which are well supported. You've got big number of supporters, starting with Yada there, which is having 29 goals from 25 games. And then obviously Cape United, Chicken Inn, Herentals, and Dynamos. That's the middle-tier teams. And Highlanders, which was once at the top, is now at number 5. So Highlanders is number 5 now, coming from the top. But people are watching Dynamos very, very closely. And this team has had so many problems, but they still do well. So Dynamos is still doing well, although they have so many problems, and they had problems in the beginning. My homeboys at Bikita Minerals, they're also right there in the middle. So there's a crowd there, around 29 points. Almost everyone is there. So anything can happen. But Yada have done well. They moved away from the relegation zone very quickly. Before the coming of Kamabiliat, they were not doing well. But you can see that this league is very active, it's doing well. And I'll put this for you on Gambakwe so that you can check out how the teams are doing. And talking of Bikita, so the Bikita Road District Council is looking for a CEO. So if you want to be a CEO of Bikita Road District Council, you can go and check out. I put the advert on gambakwe.com on yesterday. So you can just check out the video that I did yesterday, and I'll try to put it again today. So I'll try to find that picture that I uploaded. But on yesterday's story, I did put it there. Bikita Road District Council looking for a CEO. That would be nice. If you are a person from Bikita, you just drive down the road and they are home already. If you become the CEO of Bikita Road District Council. Now, let me quickly look at the comments, then we'll close. Let's see if there's anything here. Then Mkomama Soldier says, Gambakwe, the bus must have 2 drivers, not 1. This is why they're finishing us. True. And also, high-speed rail. We need to do high-speed rail. And we're going to start working on it. Next year, the only thing I'm working on is high-speed rail and internet. That's all I'm working on, so that we do well. And this is very easy to do. Then Mkoma actually says, tell us about cancer cure from the Zimbabwean scientists. Yes, I told you about cancer. We said that these scientists from Zimbabwe announced that they've discovered a cure for cancer using AI, mathematical modeling, and machine learning. And they say that this is already using already existing compounds, and it will only take 1 year to come on the market. It treats cancer, skin cancer, and Alzheimer's. That is the disease of the brain. But I'm saying to you guys that I don't think they've discovered anything new. I think they've just taken them there and the other stuff, and they put it together, and then they say they discovered a cure, because there's actually no backing documents that I've seen. I want to see documents that says, or a research that says we treated 50 people. Out of those 50, 12 were healed after such and such a time. That is lacking. So let's make sure that that information comes out, and then we don't embarrass ourselves with an announcement that says we've taken an existing compound and put it in the computer, and already you can find out that it treats 10 other things. I know AI can do that, but let's not then say it's a cure. Think about other words to use it, to use for it, and let's do proper documentation of what we're saying. And I think that has been lacking. Someone needs to bring these guys back, and we sit down and say, this is what we're saying. This is where it is going to be made, and don't put the politics into it. Don't say Zimbabwe is going to education 5.0 and all that kind of stuff. I think that is where we need to fix. They might have done a good thing here, but it needs to be backed by proper science. It needs to be properly documented. And then we must say where we have tested this thing already, what has happened, how did you go to the point where we say we've got a cure. I think that's a fair request to make. And then Mkoma Sidney says, Madi na Tinashe Jonas nenyaya kunzi murukuda kurowa nema CIO. I've already addressed the stories about CIO coming after me. I already said, guys, that CIO are not criminals. So the guys who are doing the funny stuff are not CIO, they are non-state actors. So if you see someone, I think is not a member of the CIO. A CIO is a person who goes to work. They are an employee. They don't do politics. And there are a lot of guys in CIO who are not involved in any political work. However, there is a few guys who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And those are what we're supposed to be worried about. And then Ngoma Tafa says, where's Chimama? Chimama, I don't know what's happened to Chimama. I think she got freaked out after being threatened with death. And then she's like, I'm not going to do this. And then Ngoma Never says, morning Gambakwe, we are there to support. Thank you very much. Please go to gambakwe.com and go to all our platforms. We want to provide free internet using Starlink to many young people. So this week we're going to be collecting information on the sites. And once we have a number of sites, I will be happy if I have 1,000 sites where we're going to say we're going to provide Starlink for 1,000 sites. That would be a full-time job for someone to go and provide those sites, to get funding for it. And we want a young person in the villages to be able to go on the internet every day, after school, during school. We don't want a place where someone has never been on the internet. That is terrible. We want these young guys in the villages to have access. Village 10, village 11, those kind of places. There's 2 places where a child runs to school every morning for more than an hour without eating, goes to school, comes back and goes straight to head goats. On a Thursday, they go to the deep tank and they don't go to school. We want to fix those kind of things. Those are the kind of things that Anamnangabwa should be focusing on. And they should ask guys like me, who have worked in technology, who have worked in telecommunications, banking, all the companies that you can think of. How do we do this? How do we take a community for $30 a month? If you go to village 10, for $30, the whole village will be able to access the internet and they'll become part of the future economy. Those are the kind of things that we want to do, not aguma. Right, and then let's go to what do me the last comments. If they've discovered it, they don't treat people, but they have to experiment first and come with a conclusion. Okay, I get it, Mkoma Dumi. All I'm saying is, you say it's coming in 1 year. They're saying the cure is going to be there in 1 year. So your approach must be rapid. And you're using existing compounds, which means you should go straight to manufacturing. Manufacturing means you go and take those compounds, you put them together, and you say they're safe. They've already been tested. Put the thing together. Go to Parniatwa there, cancer unit. Get a few people there and start treating those people. That's all we need. And stop putting them on chemo. I hope it's not chemo, because chemo is extremely dangerous. If you know about chemo, if someone takes chemo, that day, they can't walk, they can't move. That thing is debilitating, right? If you go to Paranyatwa Hospital, right, the cancer unit, and you stand outside and you watch the people after they have taken that chemo, whatever chemical that they pump into the body, they can't even walk. So when you talk of such discoveries, I don't know if these guys also go to these hospitals and see what I'm talking about. There's no time to delay. People take anything just to get safe. And in Zimbabwe, the biggest problem is primary health care. People don't test. So what Oxley Mnangagwa is doing, which is going around with testing, is actually a good thing with screening. Because especially for women, the moment you get breast cancer, you can do something if it's not spreading. But the moment you go for 2-3 years with that cancer, it has spread already, and there's nothing people can do for you because it goes and eats your internal organs. So when you talk of cancer, it's a serious problem. It's not something that you can just say, oh, this nice thing can do this. You need real numbers. You need real data. So go out there and present this thing to people. Put the chemicals that say are working together, and let's get this thing moving. And make sure that when you discuss it, you provide proper information. Don't give us half an information. But on this thing, we mix that compound and that compound. We want a proper thing that has already been made, and that is going to be useful to the community. So I'm not discouraging the brothers. All I'm saying is, so far, what they've done is not enough. So let me tell you about my research. And I was doing that research. I've actually thought about, I'm no longer going to be doing PhD because I just don't have time for it. But let me tell you about my research. My research is in commercialization, right? Using AI. So what these guys are doing is called commercialization. You take something that's already existing. The problem with most research in universities, it's just research, it ends there. So my research is in how to take an existing innovation that was already concluded and make it something that works in industry. There is a gap, and in South Africa, they've been trying to close those gaps, but it's failing. And the way you do it is use what is called scraping. You scrape data from many different sources, and then you correlate and end up something that you say, this thing, if we take it to market, it will work. So it's the same thing that these guys have done. They've taken a bunch of drugs which do different things. And they say, if you take this drug, it will treat this one, and these 10 symptoms exist in this disease, and if you put these ones, it will treat it. And so that's what they've done. So what they now need to do is to commercialize it. They don't need to do anything else. But when we commercialize, we want a proper description of where you have tested. So that testing phase, that's where they should have been before they made the announcement. And this is where they need to go back. They need to go back to the drawing board and make sure that they start with, we have taken these compounds, we've created this thing, we've treated 100 people, and out of those 100 people, 50 are now okay, or 70 are now okay, and 5 died because of ABC. And after 2 years, we'll come back and say, how many people are still alive? You're testing. That's why it takes 15 years to test, because you want to know the side effects. And I think my brothers need to do more work. They need to start the process of using whatever drug, which is manufacturing. They need to go to manufacturing now and start using it, because they say it's safe. The compounds are safe. So another Dr. Mukwembi, they need to do a better job here, and they need to push. They need to stop testing and start the manufacturing process. Go to a place where there is a pharmaceutical company, say, make us ABC. How come people are using moringa in Zimbabwe? Is it allowed? So get the compounds that you need to get and put it together, and let's see if it's going to work. That's all we need to do now. I don't know why they made the announcement and stopped there. So let's see what happens next. But I'm not happy with where they've concluded. They've left us hanging right now. So I think that was it for today. I'll be back here 10 minutes past 9 every day. We're back here. And today we'll be talking about what has happened with our Starlink. We need to collect many, many sites, push out internet all over the country. And then let's see if we can get funding for these sites. And when I talk of funding, I'm talking about your community. If you're in the UK, $500 will buy a Starlink kit, $30 a month, your community becomes connected. And that is what we want to do. We don't want this thing where Zimbabwe is in the dark ages. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I'll see you again tonight